everyone. I don't know if you can see me. I'm not even sure I can see myself. Checking in, making sure that I am here. I don't know if you can hear me. Is it recording? It looks like it is recording going live. I have having a little bit of a back of second. I messed up something. I need to send Dr. Pope the link for this restream. She will be on in a minute, and it is not her fault. We were both and then it decided that it wanted to not be cooperative anymore. So I am going to send this link to her right now, hoping for the best, trying to get myself together for the first interview of the year, right? A little bit trickier. So making sure that I'm doing this. So let's see. I'm looking at LinkedIn right now. See if I'm live. Looking at Facebook, seeing if I'm live. Yep, I am. I see. So, sorry, Dr. Pope. Sorry, Tabia. I think I need to just send her an email. So, not her fault, not her fault. Not her fault, my fault completely. This is the link. All right. So while we're waiting for her to get the link in, while we're waiting for her to get the link that I can't send anywhere else, a little bit confusing. I see 3 of you are here. Thank you for joining on LinkedIn. I appreciate you. I appreciate your patience. Again, I know I can hear myself. I hope you can hear me too. And let's see if we're on any other platforms also. Okay, she sent me a text, I think. All right. Let's see who's there. Knock, knock, who's there? All right. Live in studio. All right. Invited guests. Hopefully she'll be here. Get the link. That might have been her that was calling just a second ago. So yes, I'm on Facebook. Trying this restream look. Let's see if I can get one more. I hope she's here. All right. One more look at Facebook and Instagram. Am I on Instagram? Maybe. All right. How are we looking? All right. Okay, I think this is her though. Is this you?
Hi.
Sorry, everyone. Oops. Did you get the link in email?
Yes, you have me on backstage and I can't access my camera.
Okay. Let's see. Thank you. Let's see. I'm looking for you. Oops. Okay. I hope. I see you. No, not remove guests. How do we access camera? Add to the stream. There you go. I think I've got you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I
Okay,
can't see you.
it's saying that my camera is not allowing me. No.
Okay. Let's see. I know I've used Restream before with the camera. I never, it's on. Let's see. Should I look at settings? Who's in there? Let's see. Add a person. Uh, no. Camera. Disable camera. Nope. Settings. Okay. Automatically video. Is it saying that I'm not allowing you to share your camera?
No, it's asking me to press V, and I pressing V here.
For video.
I can try to go to my settings. Just give me a second.
Okay. Okay. Okay, everyone. You can hear us. We're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on getting her in the picture also. I wish I could focus more on you. That would be great. I'm looking for the settings.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where.
The camera is, I know. Participant is hidden. And then undo participant. You are there. Something about, let's see. Maybe when you entered, did it ask you to allow camera?
Yeah, it's
We
usually.
were on Zoom a minute ago, everyone. So it's not like we weren't trying to. It was just that Zoom was not letting me do this. I decided to
I just don't. I don't know
change
where to go
right
to
at the camera.
my video.
So in your three dots, maybe next to your name, three dots next to your name, camera. I know I have, let's see what it says for me. Edit name, video settings. Then it says video settings. I know, sorry everyone. She's there, she's there. It's not her fault. It's my fault. I thought, I don't know, Zoom is just being particular. How are your, yeah, what is it saying your video settings to be?
It's. I don't know if I'm doing this right, so I'm just
Look at
trying
it.
to problem solve and
Yes.
look at that.
The three dots next to your name, no? Is there?
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
video and it's just going around, so it's just not sure if what's going
Integrated video.
on.
I got integrated video, mine says. Doesn't really give me very many choices. So I'm hoping you have similar choices. I mean, while we play with this, let me do a little bit of
Is it? I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. So is it possible to?
Sorry, everyone.
That is going to work with the video. So if you're looking to do video, you
Yes.
might go back to Zoom.
I know. I was going to try to reconnect on Zoom, but let's talk. Let's talk while you're here, so that we can hear you. I think everybody can hear you. If you can hear her, just put yes in the chat. Let's see. I'll ask a couple of questions and then see what I can do in the background while that's working out. See if there's anything that I can do to set up Zoom back up again, because that seems like the best way to do it. All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how how you work in the field? What is your area of specialty? And where you are, so and how you got into speech pathology, and then I'll follow up with the rest of the stuff.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Tabia Pope. How I got into the field and some of the areas that I've worked in, I started off knowing that I wanted to go into adult neurogenic disorders, primarily because my grandfather, actually my grandfathers have strokes, and my grandmother become a caregiver. I've also, witnessed one of my grandfathers have dementia, Alzheimer's, and so it's just kind of uh, having that connection with adult adult neurogenic disorders has been kind of a passion from the beginning of why I wanted to go into this field. And so I knew really early on, like when I was in doing my master's, kind of why, my why. And so from there, I've wanted to also research, and know more about traumatic brain injury. And so all of my clinical experiences since I've been able to uh, get into the field have been in medical settings. Um, I started off as an extern in a TBI day program, which was really unique to work with brain injury specialists as well as an interprofessional team of vocational counselors at that point, and doing a lot of programs, functional programming for traumatic brain injury. I've done a lot of work in skilled nursing facilities and rehab facilities as a supervisor, as a director of rehabilitation, and done some hospital work as well. But really, my passion has been in intercollegiate athletics, in working with sports therapy or sports medicine staff, the sports medicine staff or sports therapy. And I've done a lot of work in research and clinical research as well in sports concussion management, from the perspective of a speech language pathologist and as well as an audiologist, working with an audiologist with auditory processing. And I've also, helped the sports medicine staff with high school football games. So that has been interesting, being on the sidelines in games. And now I am at the university setting, where I am a brain lab coordinator, where we're talking about brain health and injury. We're looking at research, assessments, innovative interventions, and neurocognitive training. And what does that mean for our profession in working with athletes and those that have traumatic brain injury? And so that's kind of where my clinical experience has taken me in this field, but also just
Yeah.
as a nonprofit management executive, I would say, of Head to Speech, and making sure that we're looking at the policies and the programs, and creating some standardized processes for speech language pathologists and audiologists who are interested in interprofessional education and collaboration, and making sure that we have great programs that have been developed for sports concussion management. But how do we bring everyone together to make sure that we're sharing information, and that we are going through these programs and policies to make sure that we are getting the best outcomes for the athletic population, and making sure that we're bridging that gap between athletics and communication sciences and disorders. And so that's what I do at Head to Speech, and making sure that we're bringing these career pathways, to our profession through sports. And when we look at like recruitment and retention, making sure that we have a clear pathway for those that want to be involved. And also bringing together an interprofessional task force where we talk about these issues from a very systematic standpoint, and how we're actually working on prehabilitation and not just being proactive with prevention, but not just being reactive with rehabilitation, but being preventative and talking about prehabilitation as well.
So yeah, those are, I mean, honestly, when I was reading more about you, I was thinking, I wish I had thought about this because I wish I had thought about the sports and speech connection myself. And I
Mhm.
read prehabilitation. So I'm so glad that you're doing it. But like I said, I wish that I was doing it. I wish I had thought about it myself. And I was like, okay, if you're hiring in the future, although this is apparently not the best version of my glitchiness with the presentation, on Restream, even though I feel like there's got to be something that is not clicked. Do you see a little icon that has like a camera on it that has an X through it or something? I'm looking
Yes,
to
but
problems,
it's telling me that
and
to
and it
press
won't
E.
open. Yes, but
It's
it
telling
won't
me
open if you press the little icon.
it's it's
Yeah.
not working for me. So I don't know what I'm doing, but it's not working for
I
me.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. I'm sorry. But yeah, so unfortunately, this may not be my best, job interview with you, but maybe in the future, I would definitely be interested in doing more with that. I mean, that's amazing. I think even the prehabilitation thing is something unique to. I've never heard that before as far as being proactive about rehabilitation, I'm assuming. But tell us a little bit more on that terminology.
Yeah, so a lot of athletic trainers use prehabilitation when it comes to, other sports injuries, making sure that they're training the body to actually take some of those hits, and so we're kind of applying some of that same terminology to when it comes to training your brain, right? So if
Uh,
you know that your brain is vulnerable when you're playing, say, for football, from repetitive brain trauma, you want to make sure that you are constantly doing cognitive activity to keep those neurons firing, right? To make sure that, especially if you also have a concussion, that you are doing cognitive activity to reduce or prevent early onset dementia, Alzheimer's disease. You're making sure that you are keeping your brain active also with neuroplasticity, right? Because we know that the brain can rewire itself and to compensate for some of the areas that are that may be damaged. So making sure that there's a connection there between cognition and physical, and we call it dual tasking. So it's, you're doing a cognitive activity while you're working out, and you're doing this simultaneously. So it's not multitasking. It's you're actually giving the athlete their rep to do, and you give me those 5 words, and as you do the rep, you say one word with the rep, right? You're doing it simultaneously, so it's not anything that is extra, but it's utilizing
wow.
what the athlete is already doing to be proactive and to be more mindful about what about their cognitive activity and what they're doing, taking what's in the athletic environment, right? The athletic trainer or coach are giving them plays and drills to do, and so taking that information, and can they repeat that information, can they organize that information, can they, if there are cones that have different colors, can we add a category to those colors, and do those colors now mean something to them that is now helping them with their communication, right? So utilizing the athletic environment as a way to help with, prehabilitation, training their brain, neurocognitive training, so it helps with better sports performance as well.
Amazing. Very, very amazing. So yes, that really is like I've never I've never thought about it in multiple layers like that. I've never thought about it in multiple layers like
Yes.
that. That's
And,
amazing.
and
Really
we
great.
and we have to think about it like that, because what will an athletic trainer or a coach may say, well, my guys have too much on their plate already, right? They already have a lot going on. So we have to think about, well, how can we integrate into what they're already doing? It can't be something extra, right? It has to be what they're doing. So it may take you getting familiar with the athletic drills, the sports drills, or learning about that sport. So you can utilize that information and create functional treatment or functional brain health coaching materials. You can utilize that information to kind of just also be preventative with education, educating them on what does this mean. Um, a lot of guys don't even aren't able to, or athletes aren't even able to recall the concussion protocol. So there's a protocol in place. There are different steps that you have to take if you do have a concussion, but a lot of them can't really recite that information, right? They don't know, well, I don't know what these different steps are. So it takes someone like us that understands um, how to create functional pathways for them. I would say, utilizing that information and making it functional for them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and breaking it down for them. And we're used to that with, I've worked in skilled nursing facilities, I've worked in hospitals, and we do that with all other populations. We do that with veterans. We do that with our stroke patients, right? We do that with other TBI survivors. And so there's no reason why we can't apply that same knowledge that we have as speech pathologists to the athletic community. If anybody,
Right.
we're the most qualified,
Yeah.
because of our training.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is make sure that there are more speech pathologists and even audiologists that are trained in athletics and understanding how sports medicine works.
Right. Right. I mean, that's, like I said, very unique. So, this is, of course, DEI Speech IQ. Do
Yes.
you do you view your speech and DEI overlays, and how do you view your DEI and speech overlays, and how over the years have you addressed that with what you do, of course, in the field, and how you've developed into this new area, so to speak, with head to speech.
Oh, yes. Well, athletics is an underserved population when it
Mm,
comes to speech pathology. And I want to talk to you about this as well, of why you think that
yeah.
speech pathologists have not traditionally been involved in athletics.
Right. Right.
It also has a lot to do with like the demographics of contact sports as well. That may be one, but there are a lot of, with the athletics population, it being an underserved population. I think of the social determinants when it comes to sports, and that a lot of players are playing, the different reasons why they're playing sports, and why they may underreport if injuries or sports concussions. And so I'm looking at also social determinants, health disparities in sports. And sports as a phenomenon, when it comes to, we train in the African American community, you know, sports is as an outlet for social economic
Mm,
empowerment,
right.
right? And and so we have to look at how we view sports, how sports is
Yep.
impacted when it comes to health, and how we put our health on the line. And I think that if you even look at the terminology of, you know, we call athletes who are retired veterans in the athletic world, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah. Right.
they're going on the line, right? And their bodies on the
Didn't even
line.
think of
And
it that way.
so, I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. Don? Don, can you hear me? Hello, Don?
There you go. Yes, I couldn't hear you and you couldn't hear me, which is odd.
No.
Okay. So so you were talking about
Yeah.
DEI, the athletes being veterans. I heard that,
Yes.
which I
Yes.
like I said I had never thought about it that way, but you're right. Their bodies are on the line. And yet I know that there was a recent report in the New York Times that was talking about sometimes it's not a matter of because I was thinking contact sports also.
Hmm.
It's not just a matter of the contact sports, which is one of the things that you're talking about, but it's just the quick movements, kind of like the um, jerkiness of sports, supposed to be responsive, etc.
Hmm.
But that part can
Hmm.
also weigh on
Hmm.
their heads, their bodies, their brains. So
Hmm.
I thought that that was very
And,
interesting,
and I think
especially the young
also,
players, especially young players.
hmm, hmm, and I think
Oh,
also when it comes to diversity and just being like culturally responsive, making sure that we are training um, speech pathologists in cultural responsiveness, right? How do our how does the population, right, the population of that sport, we have to look at the populations. Every sport, is different. Every community is different. And so we have to be very cultural, be responsive to the athletes within that environment and on that team, or in your community, and really learning about different learning
mhm,
styles, because not everyone also learns the same. And so when it comes to cognitive assessments, traditionally we think about the different formats, the format bias, the learning styles, the way that our own biases and things that we bring to that clinical setting, and making sure that we are combating those biases that in that population. Um, I I largely, when I think of diversity of just in sports, right? That athletic population is very diverse. And I like to advocate for um, us looking at culturally and linguistic backgrounds, but also looking at athletes from being, there may be a wounded athlete, right, who is a veteran in the military, but now plays basketball in the Paralympics, right? So that person is still an athlete, right? They may identify as a veteran, but they also identify as an athlete. And they're also playing sports. And so they also need to have information about brain health and the impact that if they have a concussion, what to do. We also have athletes who may be on the autism spectrum, right? And they may have different learning needs and learning styles, or neurodiversity, and other special needs like ADHD. We have athletes who also have ADHD. And so there's no reason why a speech language pathologist cannot work with these athletes that have these different needs, right? We are trained to do that. We also have athletes who also are persons who experience fluency disorders, right? And persons who stutter. And so there's no reason why
sure,
we
why not?
can't
Sure,
work with athletes, that
sure.
have dysfluencies, right? We also have athletes who also have neurogenic speech and language disorders from repetitive brain trauma, have dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and so that need memory care, that need caregiving. They need counseling when it comes to their caregiver needs counseling. They need counseling.
Right,
There
right,
may be athletes who have an intersection between brain health and mental health, and because of that repetitive brain trauma, or that they are dealing with mental health issues, they also may need us to advocate for them to seek help from a mental health professional, right?
right.
Or the intersection between
Right,
brain
right,
health, making sure that they're working on those brain workouts that I was talking about, and making sure that we're active in the athlete's life from early on in the continuum of care, so we can educate them and arm them with the knowledge that they need, so it decreases the amount of mental health issues that may pile up, right? If they don't know what's happening to them, they can become depressed, right? And so
right,
our intervention in being involved in athletes' life from early on is going to help to decrease the mental health, but also combat the stigma that we should not be talking about brain health in the athletic community, or we should not be talking about sports concussions. We should not be
right,
talking about seeking help, therapeutic help, but that they have identified and gotten comfortable with us being in that space.
right.
And I think that also looking at social economic disparity, health disparities in the social economic or underprivileged communities, I would say, there may be also, the lack of financial support to also receive services, but
Mhm.
also just the literacy piece of like understanding what a speech pathologist is, what our role is, and do they understand, do we have tools in place that are easily accessible or easily understood, like how is does that community understand who we are and why we're there, right? We're not just there to
Right,
for financial gain, but we're there to really make an impact in our community, in the athletic community. So making sure that all of that goes into having a diversity statement and going into diversity,
mm,
equity, and inclusion. And also
right.
we have to also realize that there's a history of those populations that have been discriminated against, right? And
Sure.
still are discriminated against, right? Either through their race, their color, their national origin, disability, their age, their sexual orientation, and in some cases religion and political beliefs, right? Because we have athletes that have put
Yeah,
their career on the line to make some great political statements, right? Or their
mm,
religion changed their name,
yeah,
as
yeah,
an athlete. And so athletes, the athletic community is diverse. We're
yeah,
not just talking about one population, or one thing. We have to look at diversity from all of these different lenses. And
right.
then also when it comes to identifying as a speech language pathologist, we have to think about belonging, because I'm a speech pathologist, but I'm also a sports wife and I'm a sports mom. I'm
Mm,
not an athlete. I don't identify necessarily as an athlete myself, but I know athletes.
yeah,
I'm in that athletic world because of that. And so we may have speech pathologists who do identify as athletes, who were athletes, who do have a sense of belonging as a speech pathologist or as a sports parent, right? And so all of that goes towards making sure that we are looking at diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging as well.
right, right. Yeah, belonging is now even more so kind of being highlighted as some DEI programs are being reduced. Excuse me. So, as more of them are being reduced, it's like so much more important that we continue to reinforce that sense of belonging so that you know where you'll be welcomed. You'll know where
Mhm,
you're understood. You'll know where people have
mhm,
resources, frankly, and support for you.
mhm,
So, definitely, all those are, very key areas. And thank you for reminding us that we really do have, a lot of us that are just kind of out there have somebody in our family that's part athlete and part,
mhm, mhm,
obviously,
mhm,
family member. So, we
mhm,
have a little bit of both of those things. Um, so I
mhm,
am still, I'm still in the background kind of working out how to get your video up and running. I'm not seeing it on my side, but I am thinking about what we can do to make sure that everybody gets to see you. So there might be a part 2 for this. Just warning you. I don't want to leave you out there and you're like, Dawn, this is weird. It is weird.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
okay. It's
So sorry.
okay. It's
I don't
okay.
know what happens to the camera. I don't know what else I can do about this camera. I got thoughts in my head. So I'm gonna keep it moving, because what you're saying is valuable. What you're saying is going to be useful for a lot of different people. Like I said, I definitely did not think about this area, and I wish I had, because I think that might have been my specialty area instead.
Well, it's never too late. I would say it's never too late, because we need ambassadors. Like,
that's why you do have that ambassador program.
Yes.
Right.
So it's never too late to go out in your community and find a coach or athletic trainer or an athlete themselves or a sports parent. And we all have a role to just like sit them down and just educate them on brain health and sports concussion and what that looks like. And the message is not, we don't want you to play sports. So we don't want you to play your sport, right? That's not the message. The message is, well, do you know what to do if that does happen? Like, do you have the resources? Like, you want to know the resources, right? You want to at least know that a speech pathologist is a profession that can help you. And this is how we can help you. Like, people are more open to, well, yeah, I want resources. Of course I need resources. I need to know. I want to be knowledgeable, about it. I don't want to be misinformed. So can we just sit down and have a conversation? Like, I just want to open your eyes to something that you may not have known about, right? So it's how we go about it in our community, asking also our community, like, what they need. What are some of the things that your community could do differently when it comes to player safety? Or what are some of the things that we could do to engage your athletes in the community to help them with better presentation skills, communication skills, being able to present themselves now that they it's all about name, image, likeness. Did you know speech pathologists can help you with presentation skills and making sure that you and like it goes back to those athletes that may have difficulties with presenting well.
Right.
Okay, we can work with you and help you, with with those areas, So it's just going back and just identifying, at least everyone knows at least like one or two athletes, like I'm sure if you really sat down and wrote a list out, of who's an athlete in your community, you would have a long list, right? Of who you know, of who was a coach, who used to be an athlete, right? Or someone who does recreation sports, or you may be a person in sports and fitness. You may be a yoga instructor, right? Okay, so let's take that information. Now, what do they need? Because every stakeholder needs something different. A coach is going to need something different. We had a speaker at Mila, at the Head to Speech Interprofessional Task Force Summit, and she talked about how athletes are professional voice users.
Right. Absolutely. They have to do those interviews every single time. I think very often. I think very often of like Marshawn Lynch, who, of course, would come on and say, I'm only here so that I don't get fined. But they have to do it. Yes.
Yes. And so they're using their voices as professional voice use coaches, right? So a coach, the way that you talk to a coach, okay, coach, you use your voice every day. I know you may be yelling. You may be using your voice a little bit too much, right? So let me just educate you about how you can manage your voice, right? Like, what is vocal use and misuse, right? And what you can do to preserve your voice. Isn't that within our scope of practice?
Right. Yeah.
Voice disorders. Okay.
That's right.
So it's really just identifying what we can do for the athletic population in going out and being an ambassador, right? You don't necessarily have to specialize in sports concussion management. One pet peeve I have is that when school-based speech pathologists come to me saying, well, I don't have a role in sports concussion management. Yes, you do. Because you know how young are athletes these days?
Right. Very.
What's the
They
youngest
could start in
athlete you know?
elementary. Yeah, they could start in elementary. They certainly start in middle school. Yep.
Okay. Yes. So, do we have school SOPs? Yes, we do. That work with athletes, right? You just need to identify those athletes within your school. Did you ever ask them or anybody on your caseload, are you playing sports outside of school? Or do you do anything extracurricular? I bet you'll have somebody say, "Oh, I'm a soccer player. I play soccer. I play hockey. I ice skate. I rollerblade. I ride my bike." Right? Are you wearing
Yeah.
a helmet? Right?
Yep.
Are you wearing a helmet? Are you playing on the monkey bars? Right? That is still recreational, right? So you can have a concussion, right, from doing all of those things. And so the way that we talk about it just has to be different. The way that we approach the athletic population has to be different. And there's no reason why we should not be on the sports medicine staff in part of the team because we are equally qualified to be in that space.
Mm-hmm. Well, you certainly are. You're definitely. I don't know if I'm qualified yet.
Trying to train,
Right.
students
Right. You
and
just had your conference
professionals.
last week. So yeah, tell us a
Yes.
little bit about some of that. And I know we're running over time, everyone. So give us a couple more minutes because of the glitchiness in the beginning. But I do want to hear a little bit about the conference
Oh,
that you
yes.
ran last week. Yeah.
It was amazing. So this was our third year, and it truly was amazing to see the first time I believe that we really truly bridged the gap between athletics and communication sciences and disorders, and it was truly interprofessional. And everyone, we had a concussion simulator, we had brain workouts, we had panelists, we had speakers, we had an NFL player who talked about his brain health and mental health and challenges, and that what his learning curve and what he wished he had, if he had a speech pathologist, right? And we talked about other athletes. We amplified voices of other athletes who's talked about, well, I wish that I would have had a speech pathologist earlier in my career, and I never knew that I could do these brain workouts, right? I never thought about it that way. And so there were just so many like aha moments from that experience that I was really happy to see clinical students, my graduate students, but also clinical fellows came because they're in that sponge phase still,
Okay.
because they want to know they want to know what are the different areas in our field, that I can get into. And so I really found that if you are a clinical fellow, like coming to being a part of
Yep.
Head to Speech will definitely shape you and help you create this career. We also had professionals that were seasoned, right, who are actually doing sports concussion management at their university, or they're doing it in a clinic setting, outpatient setting, or so they are actually doing sports concussion management, and they went through their process and their protocol with us. So we got to see all facets of what it looks like for speech pathologists to truly be involved in sports concussion management. And I'm just really happy that we are growing as an organization. We need ambassadors. We need interprofessional task force speakers. We need you to serve on our board because we're growing, and we can only grow by having others being involved and that are willing to go out into their community and talk to those athletes, talk to that athletic community about speech pathology and how our profession can serve the athletic community.
All right. So, how can people contact you if they want to collaborate and support your
Of
mission?
course. Of course. Well, also on LinkedIn, you can go to my LinkedIn page, but you also can email info at head to speech, HEADTO speech, head to speech, and then also on Instagram, Facebook at head to speech. I am open and willing to talk to you all about, just answer your questions, give you the ambassador application to get you started, and just really just help you. And what's one thing I do also as I work with my speakers and I work on their presentation. So if you feel like you are not like you need some help with your presentation, I actually help guide you through that process of what that looks like to create a presentation for sports concussion management. So you're actually learning through the process of speaking for us as well.
Amazing. Wow, that is amazing. That's great. I mean, I know that I have one of your t-shirts, which by the way, the material is super
Yay!
soft. And I'm like, or rather, long, I want to say it's a long sleeve shirt, but it's so
Yes.
soft, that material. Well done. Well, good choice.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank you so much for supporting us. And we're gonna have more fundraisers. And if you like to fundraise, please, fundraise for Head to Speech. We have frequent fundraisers in our community for our ambassadors. And so it's also get your team together. I say get your team together, fundraise, raise awareness. And so, you can get your t-shirt too, and you can go out in your community and
Hmm.
support Head to Speech.
Actually, you just gave me a really good idea because I think that I could do a fundraiser with athletes that
Yes.
at the university, right? Like, so in
Yes.
other words, that would be even more impactful because then they would
Mhm.
both understand it and be able
Mhm.
to support it for
Mhm.
you, that is, for you. So
Yes, thank you so
I
much.
think that that would be a great idea. I think we should definitely collaborate on that. I'm definitely going to make sure I follow up on that with you.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you so much for sharing with us. I
And you
know
know what?
that
Hold on, before we leave, we're both ASHA Leadership Development program cohorts.
graduates.
We're not in
Yes,
the same cohort, but we're alumni, right?
yes,
Alumni of the program.
yeah,
And through that program, I just graduated. And through that program, I created a career pathways program. And
yeah.
so we're going to be rolling out this career pathways program to make sure that we're recruiting and retaining speech pathologists early in their career, right? Through sports. So going out
Yeah.
to middle schools, high schools, letting them know that speech pathologists are involved in sports and how they can be involved in STEAM programs, right? Interested in allied health, sports medicine, and that this is a career pathway for them. So as they are starting to think about what they're going to major in an undergrad and graduate, then we have them on that career path. And then just following them through their clinical fellowship, through professional continuing education. And so there's a clear career path for everyone that wants to get involved.
Love it. That's a very transformative idea. Thank you. I was gonna get I was like, yes. One last
Thank
thing.
you.
That's great. That's so great. So absolutely. I think I could do some like I said, start again. Start from
Mm-hmm.
something that would be so amazing to me. When I was in
Mm-hmm.
grad school, I got the American certificate of education, the ACE award, not ACE award, excuse me. That is not true, the um the athletic certificate of education. I want to say something like that, but either way, it was so that I could be a
Wow.
personal trainer,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I was actually trying to be a personal trainer actually while I was still in grad school for speech pathology. So like, I really
Wow.
wish I had known you then. Like that would have been exactly the path
Wow.
I would have taken, and I actually,
It's not too
yes, I
late.
actually
It's not
know,
too late.
at least
It's not too late to
I
go
know a
back.
student who's
Dust
currently
that book
still
off.
a
Dust that
sophomore
book off.
player. Yeah. Yes, I
Yes.
know somebody who's I want to say a softball or lacrosse player. So continue,
Mhm.
and she's in the speech program. So I feel like she
Oh,
would be
perfect.
interested potentially. Yeah, like it's made me definitely like I know that I've known of your organization for a couple of years now,
Mhm.
but I haven't really been able to speak to you directly about it. So now you're like really triggering all the things that I'm like, yeah, why didn't I know like I could do that?
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
one of the things. It's okay. I've been
Because
very successful in my
we're
career,
not
so
taught that in grad school, and that's why it's kind of like, when we talk about traumatic brain injury, it's either in this adult neurogenic course where we're talking about all the different adult neurogenic disorders,
yeah.
and so I was lucky to have a traumatic brain injury course, and so I want to make sure that other universities also have that, sports concussion information on their campus as well.
Right, absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of athletic teams, a lot of campuses. That's the perfect place for students to be able
Mhm,
to match those two thought processes, and frankly,
mhm,
make it more. If I'm being honest, for those that don't think that they're necessarily interested, so to speak, in adult
mhm,
language and speech disorders,
mhm,
that they can still think about it, about the skills or the learning that they're having as far as theories and with
yeah,
TBI and and again closed head concussion or head injury
mhm,
issues, but they
mhm.
can think about it with younger people too. So in
Yes.
other words, it's not just that younger people or school age children are only in the areas of, for the sake of argument,
Mhm,
articulation, lisping,
mhm,
stuttering,
mhm,
etc.
mhm,
Language development, of
mhm,
course, and literacy, no doubt, all those things are
mhm,
true.
mhm,
But in addition to that, what about the student athletes? What about the students that are in, basketball, baseball, football, on their, in their schools? Like
mhm,
that's another outreach and opportunity for them to talk about it. So I
mhm.
love that. I love it. Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
I'm learning. I'm learning. So I appreciate your patience with me today. I don't know why everything decided that it wanted to go glitchy. Well, as I said, this has been a couple of months, and I was kind of hedging and going back and forth between Restream alone and Zoom
Mhm,
directly. So next time I'm just going to separate them, or I'm just going to have
mhm,
to do a run
mhm.
through. But what we will do is we will come together also to do another, maybe a little mini video so that people can
Okay.
see your face, know
Okay.
what you want to talk about. I know you have another meeting coming up, so I won't take your time up today, but I definitely want to be able to do it unless you have time later this afternoon. Um, but but I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate your patience with me. We do, of course, have some people that were watching on different platforms, so they might be like, "What happened to your camera?" Sorry.
Were there
And
any questions? Were there any questions?
I was looking. So there were no questions that I could find, but probably also because I was like panicking about getting your camera up and running. I'm like, where can I find it? So there was one comment. It looks like I can't see it. I can't see it. It must have gone through. You know how like when sometimes it's a comment,
Mhm,
but there's likes and there's loves,
mhm.
and so
Love it.
and because I'm on multiple platforms trying to do extra with Restream. See, when you try to do the most and you can't do any. So my apologies again. But I appreciate you, and I'm going to cheers to you, even though you
I'm
can't see
I'm
it.
cheering
So
over here. I'm cheering. But I have my head to speech mug.
exactly, ching ching. So
Saying,
I'm going to make sure if I can edit this video, that'll be great. But if and to be able to do another one, even if we do just like a 15-minute, so that people could see you, people could get your contact, and then I can certainly put that out there as a separate video. So thank you so much. To be
you're
really
welcome.
nice talking to you. I know that we could talk for another hour because we have, but for today, I will let you
Thank
go and
you.
do your thing. And look forward to the next time that we can talk. And frankly, like I said, we're going to collaborate. I'm definitely collaborating with
Yes,
you too
I'm
at
looking
some point.
forward to it.
Yes. So again, take care. Have a great day. Thank you for the audience checking in with us. Sorry that the first one is glitchy. I feel like every year the first one is glitchy. I'm
I'm
sorry.
just gonna get on live. I'm just gonna get on Instagram live and add you so we can talk there.
There you go. You should do.
Okay.
I don't know why we didn't think of like trying to figure out ways to like double a connection there.
Yeah.
But either way, we will do this again. I love LinkedIn too, so I'm willing to just go live on LinkedIn
Yeah.
one time. So we'll do it again. We'll do it again. Thank you for taking the time. Congratulations on all of your projects and all the work that you do. And hopefully maybe next year, if you don't have your conference during the same time that I'm doing my service mission, that I'll actually be able to come out to it.
Yeah, we'll have to
Um,
coordinate. We'll have to coordinate.
well, coordinate timing, which is impossible, of course. But I will see you soon and have a great day. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye.